Hey folks, Cornell with YouTube Fishing Vids. It is an incredible morning out here in Maryland. I'm actually at a new lake for you all. It's not a new lake for me. I've been here, but it's been years and years. I'm at Piney Run Reservoir out here in Eldersburg, Maryland, an absolutely incredible fishery for the state of Maryland. A little bit of a ride from my house, but man, it's got a cover charge. It's 18 bucks to bring your car and boat in here. So it's one of those kind of things, you know, if you want to spend 18 bucks and fish a killer fishery, why not? You know, it's a great spot. I don't hit it every time I get out fishing, but it's a nice place to come. Incredible opportunities when it comes to bass fishing, all kinds of panfish. There's tiger muskie in here. There's even stripers. So not a bad place to come out and challenge this month's Mystery Tackle Box Pro Box. So I'm going to break it open, and there's all kinds of stuff in here when it comes to vegetation, when it comes to deep water structure and deep water cover. Look around me. I've got pads, I've got grass all over the place. This place is absolutely incredible. So when I break open this box and show you what's in here, you're going to be pretty happy to see the different things I have to use when it comes to the opportunities on this lake. This is gonna be a tough one though. The first one coming out of the box, breaking out the card, is a Spinner B by Bagley. It's pretty much a black and blue, heavy thumping, Colorado bladed 3/8 ounce spinner bait. That's a great nighttime bait. It's a great bait for dirty water. This is a crystal clear lake and it's bright sunshine, probably one of the nicer days of the summer. I'm here in mid-August. It's gonna be like 85 degrees. Again, no low humidity, just super rare for the mid-Atlantic. That's gonna come out very later when it's as dark as I can manage getting out here, because it's going to close this lake closes. It closes pretty early, so I'm not going to be able to fish that too late tonight, but I've got it for other times when I might be doing some night fishing and or getting in some water where it's a little bit murkier. Okay, so we got a rip knocker. That's coming out next, the Jenko Fishing rip knocker. This is perfect. It's going to be a challenge for a moving bait on a lake like this, because it's going to be a pressured scene and high pressure and real clear water. That's bluegill pattern though. That's one of the main forages in this lake. So it's a Jenko lipless crankbait, bluegill pattern. It's got a beautiful finish to it. So for a sunny day and clear water like this, it's going to be killer. So I'm going to try it out and see if we can get something on a moving bait on a lipless crank. Next, coming out of the box, we got a Boyd Duckett topwater bait. This is the Castaic. That's a Castaic topwater little cupped mouth walking bait. So it's got a little extra splash to it when you walk it. It's an exclusive color. It's called gunmetal shad. So that's going to be another great bait. You can throw this all day long. It's pretty much just finding a little shade pocket, finding a little group of breaking fish, and or just challenging yourself to get a topwater bite any time of the day. So that's going to be an awesome option to throw out here. We've got a punch rig. Look around me, folks. Like I said, crazy vegetation in this lake. There's weed mats, there's pads, there's all kinds of stuff here in the deep water. So here we go. We got the heavy metal punch rig, a 1/2 ounce punch rig. And with that in the box comes a killer package of extra stuff we're going to need. I got the, oops, let me drop that and get it back up. We've got the flipping hook, and we got the peggets. We got the Ketchco Peg Z. These are going to be awesome for getting that thing all rigged up. So we're going to rig up those 3 items right there. We're going to make sure we get those rigged up perfectly, and it's an Okeechobee craw color. Yep, black Okeechobee craw. Those 3 things in unison are going to be one heck of a package for flipping these pads and such. So that's going to be a great fun option to throw. Let's see if we can do something with those today. And to jazz that up a little bit, we got the Wrecking Craw. Wrecking Craw by Ketchco. Look at that. Ketchco hooking it up. We got a Wrecking Craw. So that's going to be a great crawfish pattern deal and a really great, let's see, we got color. This is Smoking Okeechobee Craw. Nice natural pattern for this lake. So we can throw that Texas rig by itself. We can use that with the punch rig. That's going to be a great soft plastic add to the mix. All right, KVD, Perfect Plastics. The baby rodent. Who can't work a baby rodent? That's basically just a little beaver bait, a small version. Excellent option for a lake like this with high pressure and clear water. It's gonna be a great bait to just go ahead and throw on a Texas rig. So got a little pack of itty bitty pack of garlic scent. So this box is loaded. So we've got a heck of an option here on Piney Run to do a little damage. So let's get to it. That was real quick. I'm talking at high speed because I want to really get this day going. It's too nice out here. So let's get fishing and see how we do. Okay folks, I just snuck out a little shade pocket where I went to rig up so I didn't have to sit in the sun the whole time, and I rigged up the punch rig. So the punch rig is hooked up on a 7-foot medium heavy action rod. I've got 50-pound test braid, high speed reel, and I went ahead and hooked it up with a Albright knot to a 15-pound test fluorocarbon leader. I'm in sparse vegetation. These are some pretty thick pads, but they're not that thick. It's not like I'm down in Florida really getting in it. So with 15-pound tests on a fluorocarbon deal with this clear water and pretty heavily pressured lake, that's going to be the perfect setup for a 1/2 ounce punching rig rig. So I got the Catch Go Wreck and Crawl on there, all rigged up with that 5/0 hook and that Peg Z, that Catch Go little peg deal that's going to keep my rig in place. So it's just an awesome looking setup. So we're good to go. It's a tough lake when it comes to such a big chunky bait, but let's see what we can do. You never know what you're going to pull off. I've got that little baby rodent for another soft plastic to do a little punching in some of this stuff to see if they need something more finessey. But again, there's Mystery Tackle Box hooking us up, giving us the tools we need to play the game that we love to play and to hopefully manage the waters we end up having as an opportunity to fish. So let's get to it and see if we can get some punching going on. See a nice little lay down mixed in here with the pads, and you know, this is a really good time to explain exactly why a punch rig is so great. A punch rig is essentially a very, very weedless jig. So if you want to get something that's ultra weedless and you want to be pitching into these pads, you know, and pads with lay down combos and have something that's really, really jig-like, it gives you that really great flaring skirt, can be jazzed up and bulked up and really go after some of those bigger fish. Punch rig is a great, great concept. It just basically gives you a very, very weedless jig concept, like I said. So here I am, right in some pads and right in some lay down heavy wood. So let's see if there's anything hanging out in here. Okay, I've beat up those pads really, really well with this punch rig. So I'm gonna keep on working through the baits here as I always do. Challenging as it always is in the summertime. So didn't get anything punching. I've been at it for about an hour. Not a bite. I had one little dink come after it up over a log, and that was about all I saw. So I'm gonna break out what I've done earlier while I was rigging up. I went ahead and rigged up the little Strike King rodent. The little Strike King rodent's just on a little quarter ounce tungsten, pegged with the same Peg Z Catch Go little peg. And I've got a 3/0 extra wide gap hook. It's a little big of a hook for that tiny little bait, but a 2/0 would have probably been perfect, but that's a lot of hook and a little bait. So it's bound to get it in the mouth of any fish that wants to bite it. So I got the option now. In lieu of messing with these pads, I'm gonna come off these points and drag this tiny little rodent through the drop-offs and the weed edges. I see fish where they should be this time of year, which is out here on the main lake off these points. So I'm gonna go ahead and play with the rodent and see what I could do. And if they're not playing with a Texas rig out on points dragged through the weeds, I'm gonna drop shot that little guy. I'm gonna drop shot a little rodent and see if that ends up getting some attention. So let's get off this point right here where I saw some fish and see how it all works out. Okay, so folks, I'm throwing off this point, and as I always do, I always keep an eye on my depth finder. I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. Just take a look at this. So we can get the best angle on this. Okay, so my depth finder just lit up pretty good. I've got all kinds of suspended fish going right up underneath me in about 30 feet of water. So if you look over here, you see I'm on a point. So on this point, suspended are a bunch of fish. So with that said, it's the perfect opportunity to break out the other bait that came out of the Mystery Tackle Box this month, the Jenko lipless crank. So I got this beautiful bluegill pattern lipless crankbait with all these fish suspended underneath me. It's a perfect opportunity to throw it. So if I can get this thing unlatched and ready to roll, we're going to throw this thing out there on some of those suspended fish and see what you can do. So let's see what happens. See if any of these fish want to bite a moving bait. I could feel some good vibration in this bait. It's the first time I've thrown it right here. So just a stop and go. I'm just basically burning it and pausing, burning it, pausing it, letting it sink on the pause, and hopefully they'll grab it on the pause. Great looking bait in the water, and I can launch it. All right, for now, that's gonna be my last cast, burning and pausing and yo-yoing and doing everything I can through these suspended fish just to see what they might be doing. So again, I got another tool out of the Mystery Tackle Box to at least play with the fish that I see and to see what they might be wanting. At this point, mid to late morning, it's going to be brutal trying to get a fish to come up and eat. So I'm going to get back down on the bottom, play with that Texas rig, maybe go ahead and drop shot that rodent and see if there's anything biting down deep. Well, again, thanks to the mystery tackle box, I'm hooked up with a little finessey bait that I can put on my famous drop shot. So I got the drop shot set up with that little baby rodent, that Strike King baby rodent, but it's a little beefed up. You know, I've got the classic drop shot setup that you see in a lot of my videos, the drop shot special lose, the CI4, the 10-pound test braid, but I got the leader line bumped up just a hair. I got it to a 7-pound test. That's some Sunline fluorocarbon I've got there, and that is the rodent on a Mustad grip pin, a 2x fine wire wide gap grip pin, and instead of an 1/8 ounce cylinder style lead that I have on calm days like this with clear water, I've got a 3/16 ounce deal. It's going to bring that bulky bait down a little bit faster. It's going to get it down there and keep it down, and boy, with that action of a little beaver bait on a drop shot, it's going to be pretty subtle. It's not as subtle as one of those itty bitty little worms that we can throw on a drop shot, but it's still going to be one of the best bets I've got on a midday situation like this to catch some bass. So I'm going to work these weed edges. I'm going to get off the drops. I see fish everywhere, so it's just a matter of getting one of them to bite. So let's see what the drop shot does. Let's see if at least get one of the baits out of the mystery tackle box grabbing a bass. Oh, there we go. Out of nowhere. That is so awesome. So I was practically swimming my drop shot back, and here's the first fish of the day. Oh, like I said, the drop shot, a chunky little bass, and he ate the little rodent. He ate the little rodent on my drop shot. How cool is that? So there it is. That's the first fish of this month's mystery tackle box efforts. How cool is that? Sorry for a little shake there on the camera, but there it is. All right, cool. So we're one fish in. Thankfully, again, I had that little finessey rodent ready to roll, drop shotted, and I had a Texas rig earlier, and I even dipped the tail. I actually dipped the tail to get a little bit of chartreuse. He's all jacked up now, but take a look at that. There's that little green pumpkinish idea with a little dip tail and on that drop shot rig. Very cool. All right, so we got one fish all hooked up on the drop shot. I may try and catch a couple more on that, but I just wanted to get one fish under my belt at least. All right, there's a few more, not a few more, there's a couple more baits in the box that I didn't go over. I had already tied it on, but I just don't know if I'm gonna get to it. Here's that awesome Castaic, BDT 105. Take a look at that bait up close. Isn't that beautiful? So there's that topwater bait. I haven't seen any breaking fish, haven't seen any surface activity. My shade is gone. It's pretty much high noon, bright sunny skies. A little later, I'm going to try and throw this topwater bait and see if we can come up with something. But there's the first fish on one of the baits out of the mystery tackle box this month. So let's keep moving and see if we can catch a few more. Oh, there we go. Awesome. That's a second fish on the drop shot. Oh, it's a little nicer fish. Very cool. All right, that is so neat, catching a bass on the drop shot and on something other than a little itty bitty drop shot weight, traditional drop shot weight. I mean bait is what I meant to say. Oh, I'm excited. This is great. That's a great little bass. A little bit bigger than the last one. It's hooked beautifully. Come here. Open up. Oh, gotcha. Oh, that's a nice little bass. Awesome. So cool. All right, lost that beaver bait, but fortunately that little rodent's got a bunch of them in that pack. So if this is what it's going to take to catch fish, especially during the midday, I'm going to keep at it. I'm really hoping to catch one of those big Piney Run bass. There's some giants in this lake. So let's keep at it with a drop shot for a little while. As things kind of progress through the day, I'm going to play with some more of the baits, but right now we're just catching some fish. So let's keep it up. I'm still taking opportunities to throw this lipless crankbait, this Jenko Fishing lipless crankbait through some of these suspended fish I continue to see. I see fish off of drops and I see fish out suspended. So as I drop this drop shot in front of these areas where I see these fish, if I'm not getting a bite, I'm going ahead and within the same area throwing this lipless crank just to cover the water. So I'm pretty much covering all bases. Suspended fish and fish that may or may not be on the bottom. So it's a great way to just continue to fish the water column and make sure that any fish that are in the area at least see a bait that you've got to present. So just a great way to move along and throw different baits, and thankfully they're baits out of the mystery tackle box. Okay, so there's that itty bitty little rodent. I'm going to show you exactly how I rig it up on my drop shot. Right off the bat, it has that little connected tail, so I'm going to break those apart. So once I break those apart, it's going to give those two little flappers a little bit more action. So that's the first thing I do, and then with that 2/0 wide gap 2x fine wire. Again, it's so crucial to have that fine wire so you can get the penetration on these lighter drop shot rods. I'm going to go ahead and Texas rig it. So I'm going to Texas rig this little beaver bait with this little Mustad grip pin. There's the grip pin. That grip pin's awesome because it's going to really hold that bait in place. And like a lot of soft baits, like drop shot baits and things, you lose your baits on sometimes the first fish. I caught 2 with 1 beaver bait, so I'm pretty happy about that. But I'm going to go right, really as centered as you can, so you want to make sure that bait is perfectly centered. And here comes the grip pin going to work. It's going to come right up over the eye. come right through the bait, and there's the grip pin's going to grip that and keep that right in place. So I'm not going over the eye as much as I would if I was just Texas rigging it or something else. I want that line to be exposed and the eye of that hook to be exposed so it gives the bait all the action that it can get. And then we're just going to Texas rig it dead center, right through the middle, and straight back out. And then I'm going to do a little Texpose just to keep it perfect. So there we go. Got ourselves Texas rigged, good to go with my drop shot bait and the beaver bait, and off we go for hopefully another drop shot fish. I'm just fishing a little pocket. It's just a little pocket off the main lake, really deep water and weed edges. So that's pretty much all I'm doing. I'm throwing right out to the edge of the pads and the weeds, letting it sink straight down, just barely moving it, just letting it sit there, letting that little beaver bait do its thing, a little drag and a little shake, and pop. They'll just pop it and you just lift and hopefully they'll be there. Okay, I got myself another drop shot fish, folks. Oh, it might be a little bit bigger fish. Oh yeah, it's a nicer fish right on this new point that I set myself up on. That's awesome. Guys, I don't have a lot of time. You know, I came out here in hopes of catching a couple fish on my mystery tackle box. I did that. And thankfully, again, on the drop shot, this is a typical situation in the summer months here in Maryland when I've got limited opportunities to fish waters that aren't very pressured. Just another nice chunky bass. That's just awesome. Thank you, little Strike King rodent. All right, so here's the deal. I'm gonna sign out. I gotta go. There's a couple baits you didn't see me get to fish today, which is kind of unusual for me opening up one of these mystery tackle boxes, but I caught 3 fish on a drop shot, so I'm not gonna complain about that. Let me do a quick introduction, at least to the bait that I didn't even open, and there's for good reason. This bait is definitely gonna be tied on very soon. I'm planning on doing a little night fishing. I found myself a nice little spot where I could actually fish all night long here close to me, but check this beauty out. There's the Bagley. That's that 3/8 ounce. That's gonna be my nighttime killer. I'm gonna throw that also in some muddy water. I've got some spots in my world where I can actually throw a bait like that in some dirty water. So that's the only bait I didn't throw today. And of course I didn't throw that topwater beauty by Castaic, this one that I showed right here. I'll show it to you guys one more time. Just a great walking bait. So just a killer deal. So that was one heck of a mystery tackle box to get. I only had about 3-4 hours to get out here and fish. So I caught 3 fish, got to show off the bait. So folks, if you're interested in getting yourself a mystery tackle box subscription as low as $15 a month, go check out mysterytacklebox.com. There's definitely a great option there to treat yourself to a really good deal every month and get a box of baits like that. So folks, as always, I appreciate you joining me. As always, I appreciate you subscribing, and until we meet again, over and out.